Hello, everybody. This is Joey, one of the co-hosts of the Disneyuniversepodcast, and bringing to you another special bonus episode with good friend Udi from the Leaving Today podcast. We are doing another Gina Carano conversation. This is part 2, and we are once again joined by Madison, who's part of she does the Doing Talking YouTube channel. And also, we have another guest, Emily, who is a big fan of Gina and is part of the GinaCarano.net team. So we decided to have another conversation since this is still one of the hottest topics out there, not just in the Star Wars community or fan community, but just out there in general. It's a conversation that I wanted to have with somebody or a couple people that aren't fans of her, but I wasn't able to find anybody that wanted to talk. So just letting you know before you listen, it's a great conversation. A lot of great points are made and got a lot of good stuff to talk about. But we are all big fans of Gina Carano. So I hope you enjoy this special bonus episode. Okay, guys, so we are back with part 2 of our Gina Carano conversation. Myself and Udi, we had such good feedback from the first one, and we're joined by Madison, and she joins us again this time. How's it going?
Hello, happy to be back.
Oh, glad to have you back.
Yeah, great to have you back.
And I didn't think we'd get to part 2 so soon.
Yep.
But this is the story that is not going away.
Yep, great.
And so we're also joined by big Gina Carano fan and supporter, Emily. So, Emily, thank you for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Hey, guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. This we're talking, with our other podcast, Amanda's show, and having you on, and you guys had a lot of letting us know some plans you guys had going on. So, things have kind of. I won't go there, but we're here now. We're still talking about it, and before we get to, I guess, the part 2 of our conversation, since we're just meeting you, Emily, can you tell us a little bit about your background on, not just, Star Wars, but like what made you a fan of Gina in the first place?
Yeah, so I did watch her when she was a fighter back then. I think I mentioned this in a Instagram live that we did last weekend, but I actually used to watch like Shayna Baszler, Tara LaRosa, a lot of them. And then Gina came on the scene, and then I watched her fight some. I was a fan, and then I got into like Ronda Rousey and all of that. But I knew a little bit about her fight stuff. I watched some of her movies. I liked Haywire, but I didn't actually start commenting on her Twitter or anything like that until people started calling her names that I saw it, and I thought, she's not any of this stuff, because I think people just start throwing things out there without the burden of evidence. And I felt like it was my responsibility to speak up in her defense, because people were calling her racist and she's not. So that's when I really started kind of interacting with her and other fans on Twitter. And that's how I got connected with the fandom, if you will, and met Madison and a lot of the other people in our watch party group. So, yeah.
And then I'm like, I want to get in this watch party. How's that? Yeah.
Well, it was actually kind of funny. Madison and I and some of the others posted a picture. She joined us like a surprise Zoom meet around Christmas time, or the beginning of December of last year. And when we posted that, my inbox just got flooded. People were like, we want to join your Zoom group. And I was like, oh gosh.
I think a few of those are from me.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And Mandish. I was commenting as myself and the
Mando show. Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, we agree, I think, on all of that. I've been following her on Twitter for a long time, and at no time had I ever felt she was a hateful person. And it's like you could throw. It's so easy for somebody to throw out racist. That's like saying that's like the new, like, you're ugly, so you're racist. They don't realize the implications of how big that word is, really, and it's just stupid. But
it really is, and like I'll have people come in, and most of the time anymore, I just ignore them or block them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I always, you'll see me put it a lot on Twitter, is evidence is the burden of the accuser.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if you're accusing me of something, the burden is on you to provide evidence of what you're claiming I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do that.
Yep.
If you're the one that's accusing me. So, and that usually shuts them up pretty quickly. A lot of times I see with haters, because they can't. A lot of times they can't prove what they're saying. So rather than just arguing with them, and then they'll try to like keep trolling me or whatever. And at that point, I'm just like, you know what?
You're done.
I gave you a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I gave you a chance to prove your point, and you haven't done it. So you're not worth my time.
Exactly. Nice. Well, very cool.
My Twitter's gotten very quiet of late because I've either blocked them all or they've blocked me. So
I know.
it's nice and peaceful now.
Nice. It's a happy place. So.
Twitter is never happy. But Twitter is never a happy place for me. And I'll go on my Twitter comment. Joe and I used to work together. We worked together for like a little bit over a year. And every time I'd sit down to lunch, and I would open up my phone and I'd go through my Instagram, and then I'd be like, oh, time to turn on the Twitter hate. And I'd go on the Twitter because everything I ever saw on my feeds for anything were like, that is horrible, you're horrible, that. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, why am I even on here right now? Because all I'm feeling is like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. I'm like, oh gosh, man.
Wow.
So yeah. I mean, that's the way it feels. But I'm glad, it's kind of like a double-edged sword when you talk about social media. You can kind of get curated into a bubble of like only what you want to hear, and that's not such a good thing. But then it's bred this kind of thing of people throwing things around and for people they don't even know. I mean, I would never throw those kind of accusations at a person I didn't know: racist, misogynist, sexist, all the very horrible things that are bad. But they get thrown around so much by two people that they have no idea what they're about. And they don't venture in and go like, hey, what are you about? They never take the time to figure out what you're about. And it becomes it's become a hateful mob that is a big problem. And that is the one thing that we're faced, and this is what happened with Gina, is that mob of hate for no reason, really. I mean, if you don't like her, okay. If you are being judgmental of her or critical, okay. But come at it from a point of like you're doing, Emily. Give me the proof. Tell me what I did. I want to hear it. And so whenever I've been accused of being anything, I go, okay, tell me what I did. And if you can't give me like a basic thing like you did that, then I think then you don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, I mean, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, I'm not on Facebook, and I've done that on purpose. It becomes such a weird place because then we have the community that we can build with people like you on that platform. And then our podcast, we have that, and we build that through that social media, but then we have that other end of it that is just ugly. And that is what has been causing all these problems, I think. And that is where we are with Gina. I mean, she caught the brunt end of it for nothing from a person. When you have anybody like Bill, we'll go to Bill Burr real quick. He defended her, but even him, and I felt that was kind of rough for me to listen. I'm sure you guys saw that, right? When he kind of talked about her and said, she's a sweetheart of a person. But even he was like, now I got to be careful what I say. I'm like, Bill Burr has to be careful about what he says. This is where we are? Wow. That shocked me. Yep.
Yeah, if comedians can't speak freely anymore, I mean, who can?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
The comedian, I mean, you think about, like Dave Chappelle, we'll go there real quick. I mean, when they came after him, I'm like, that is Dave Chappelle. Bill Burr, these people, comedians, need to push the edge. And so then you have, and when you can't even do that, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm shocked by it. And then, again, we go back to how that culture has developed. And now where we are now here is looking at, the firing of Gina for nothing, really, in my opinion. People are going to go everywhere, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, that is what we've done. And So part of the reason why we're talking here is because I want to talk about how the fandom hasn't let it go. You know, what I've been calling, some people may find that wrong of me, but what I've been calling true Star Wars fans, the ones that are there for the core message of Star Wars, which is hope, 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 hope. And these people who came after her, I don't view them as like real, genuine Star Wars fans. So, you know, I'm glad that they're not letting go of it. I'm glad that any social media post, YouTube, they have been flooded. I mean, they did, Star Wars YouTube did another one, the one they posted a couple days ago. First 20, 30, 40, you know, is Gina Carano quotes. Gina Carano quotes. Gina Carano quotes. I've gone to Instagram when they did the High Republic. They put that on there. Boom, that got obliterated with people going, knock it off. When they International Women's Day, same thing. The fandom isn't letting it go, and for me, that like warms my heart at like so many levels, because I'm like, here are the people who are really connecting with the message of Star Wars, coming and fighting. Like Joe's wearing his, you know, the C3, the Drunk 3PO shirt, Join the Rebellion. Then I'm wearing Madison's shirt, the Carano, which I love, by the way. Again, I wear this. I've worn it like 20 times. But that is like, you know, where I'm super proud of the fandom coming up and speaking up for what we hold true and what Star Wars means to us. I don't know what do you guys think?
Well, more than just the comments, it's been the like-dislike ratio. Like, there's way more dislikes on all these videos, too, than there are likes, which is just a straight-up numbers evidence right there of what's going on. I think that Lucasfilm is catering to a very specific segment of the fandom right now, and they're alienating a large portion of it. And I think straight up, it's just a poor business decision. When you're something like Star Wars, one of the biggest franchises there is, you need to try to welcome as many people into your fold as possible, because you shouldn't just assume, oh, it's Star Wars, everybody's going to come along for the ride with us anyway. A lot of people are going to just start staying home from the theater, or maybe they won't click on that show on Disney Plus. You know, something like Star Wars is for every end of the political spectrum. It's not just for a certain group of people. And so I think they're making a big mistake here.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree with Madison. With the fandom as large as Star Wars, I think you can kind of look at it like America. And you're going to have your people on your left, and you're going to have your people on your right. And as a businesswoman, I can tell you, you don't really want to cater to one specific political group. You just don't, because your customers, you value all of your customers. Now, obviously, you're not going to attract everyone, and that's fine. But like you mentioned, it does have an underlying message of hope. That is what Star Wars is about. And hope is for everyone. It's not just for Democrats or Republicans. It's for everyone, even apolitical people. Mm-hmm. So what they did, and here's the thing, I mentioned, like, as a businesswoman, Disney does have the right and the freedom to do whatever they want to do with their business. Now, there are some, you know, hiring and equality laws, and there are business ethics, but so they can fire and hire whoever they want. With that being said, if you're going to fire someone for posting or making a Holocaust reference, then you need to be fair and apply that to everyone. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily have an issue. I think that what they did is wrong as the fan of Gina Carano, but I don't have an issue with them, you know, doing business and deciding, okay, we want to sever our business relationship with Gina Carano. That's not what I have an issue with. What I have an issue with is that what they did is unfair, because they didn't apply that to Pedro Pascal, and that's not fair.
Yep. Yeah,
and that to me is breaking business ethics.
And that's what's bothered me, is the whole double standard of everything.
Yeah, and you know, not only Pedro, but if you look at who they've come vocally and supportive, and they continue, and they've allowed, in my opinion, very, very bad behavior by a lot of their employees on social media. And even, again, having that argument about, you know, the one that I hear all the time, well, you know, she signed a contract and social media, and that I get, and I've never argued that point ever, you know. Am I the type of guy I'm very libertarian in thought. I'm like, you think like you want to think. I don't care. It isn't my business what you believe in and what you think. I'm not going to hold judgment against you on that because it isn't my business. But when they don't apply it, when they try to act like that is what they're doing, and when you're clearly not doing that, you know, that is where I become, that thing of the double standard, the hypocrisy really just drives me crazy. I get very worked up. There are very few things I hate in this world. One are bad drunks. Two are hypocrites. So that is one of the things that I cannot handle. So yeah, that has been my problem from the beginning. Like, look, you have producers, you have people who've worked at Lucasfilm. Some of the tweets that they have put out are in any culture, in any society, any civilized society, are just not okay. You know, putting MAGA kids in wood chippers, not okay. You know, even if they're saying, "Oh, we're going to put a liberal in a wood chipper," not okay. All those things are not okay, but they're being allowed by Disney, and it's kind of, in my opinion, is emboldening that and creating a further problem. So they're painting themselves into a corner, and it is just a bad place to be. And I'm, again, going back to Hope, is we're fighting back on that.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of want to touch a little bit on like the business aspect of what they're doing. I saw a lot of those posts, and the thing that came across my mind is this is horrible customer service. Mm-hmm. How they're treating fans online. And like Disney to me has always been really good at the customer experience. When you go to Disneyland or you go to Disney World, I mean, they have, I've sat through like customer service training for, I know our local college here did it for like restaurants and stuff. And they use Disney mm-hmm. as like a model of great customer service and providing a great customer experience. And that, in my mind, that's what I associated with Disney. But then when I saw how those producers and those Star Wars and Disney employees were treating fans, because to me, fans are customers. Mm-hmm. And when I saw how they were treating them, I thought, this is horrible. And it's not consistent with the culture that I associated or the level of customer service that I associated with Disney. So that's number one for me. Like, you guys need to look at your employees and you need to see how they're treating people, the fans and the customers, and you need to address that. I'm conservative, but I tend to lean pretty heavily towards like the libertarian side as well. So it's like I have this inner war about like allowing people or people having the freedom to post what they want on mm-hmm. their pages. But then again, like if you're associated with a public company like that and you have it in your bio or something, then you need to be a little bit more careful, especially when you're in positions of leadership, because I feel like when you do that as a director, it's almost like you're giving permission to other employees to behave the same way, essentially.
Well, I mean, talking about customer service, what happened at Disney World with that little girl at Galaxy's Edge, where she was asking about, if they had any Cara Dune toys, and the worker's like, who's that? And starts doing that whole thing. And you're supposed to, I mean, first of all, it's a kid. Like, mm-hmm. the fact that they would treat a kid like that is so unprofessional. Mm-hmm. Like, these people in the Disney parks are so well trained, supposedly, in all kinds of customer situations, and to straight up kind of manipulate almost a child like that was just horrible to see.
Yeah. Real quick. When I saw that, I was like, wow, like who's the real child in this video right now? Because I mean, wow. I saw that.
I haven't seen that video, and you know what? I don't want to, because I think I'll just get mad. Yeah, you can't do that. And at the going to the base level of customer service, like you're talking about, Emily. Yeah, and then Madison, you're bringing up, it is a bad business decision to go down this route. And the only way we can do that now is what the fandom has been doing, is beginning the social media, battle and pushback. And to me, like I said, it warms my heart to see all these people continuing and not letting up. So my question then to both of you is, we continue down this route, which I think we are. I think we're not letting this one go. And we shouldn't. We should not let this one go. We've drawn the line in the sand, and I think we're like, here, no further. And that is where I really feel we are. And the fandom, there's no coordinated effort. It is just people finally going, we have had enough of this, and we want, and yeah, it's rallying around Gina and that character of Cara Dune. If you have heard the rumors about how integral Cara Dune, the Cara Dune character, was going to be, like, I was listening to the video kind of talking about it, and I kind of went, look, I stopped listening to it because I was getting upset. Because here we lose this character for nothing, for really nothing, and I got mad. But, yeah, where do you guys, what do you guys feel, we continue down the route, what would make you happy? Like, are you going to be happy with, like, okay, we want Gina back, and we will be happy when they apologize and they bring her back? Or where would you guys be, I guess, satisfied with a response from Disney? I know, real quick, my co-host that I do with my other show, my Disney show, he told me, and he's a Star Wars fan, but not nearly like us, okay? And he literally said, right now, and this is go back to business, unless Disney apologizes and brings her back, I want nothing to do with Star Wars. He's like, I'm done. It has nothing for me. And right then and there, I'm like, see, this is a bad business on that sheer level. But again, like I said, what would make you feel like, okay, we're okay now? What would it take for Disney to kind of get you back to being okay, we're okay with you, Disney, at that level?
First of all, I don't want her to go back to that environment, because it just feels like such a toxic, double standard environment. I think she deserves better than that, and she's got better things coming her way than that. All I want from Disney and Lucasfilm is just equal treatment. I just want everybody, like, Bob Chapek is very clearly, like, propping up one side and downplaying the other.
Yeah.
The way he addressed that whole Gina Carano question on his conference call or whatever that was, like saying, "Oh, we don't support or play to one side over the other," and I'm like, yes, you do. I mean, not to bring up the High Republic thing again, but they hired Christina Ariel to host this show. Mm-hmm. She posts all kinds of very controversial, very leftist tweets, and they publicly support her on the Star Wars Twitter profile. They're like, we stand with her. They did no such thing for Gina Carano. And so I don't expect an apology from them, honestly. But I guess just going forward, I want less pandering to one side. I just want it to be equal, not downplaying one side or the other. Just make Star Wars, make good content, tell good stories, and quit doing this double standard. That's all I ask.
Agreed. Emily?
So for me, I think they have a huge culture issue in Disney. Mm-hmm. And in Lucasfilm, absolutely. I agree with Madison. I don't really want to see Gina go back. Obviously, she's her own person. She can do whatever she wants, but it's so toxic. And the evidence of that is everything that we're seeing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not asking for special treatment for conservatives or, give them a safe space or whatever at Disney or Lucasfilm. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking exactly what Madison has mentioned. And that is just equality, like let everyone just do their own thing. And why does it have to be political? Why can't we just have entertainment?
Yeah.
And, if people want to post their own beliefs or things on their own Twitter pages or Instagram, then okay, like Pedro Pascal does that on his Twitter, and this good, do that. That's what you believe. Mm-hmm. But why do we have to bring this into entertainment? And talking about Ariel and everything that she posted, like, ooh.
Yeah.
That's part 3 alone.
Yeah, good one. Exactly.
Maybe that should be its own part.
Oh, yeah.
But
Volume 3.
Volume 3, yeah. And 4 and 5.
Yeah, oh,
But
man, yeah.
what I'd like to see is Disney to clean up their own house before they bring Gina or anyone else back. They need to look at their leadership, because what I know, or from past experience, is a lot of times that stuff happens from the top down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's usually not your lower level employees that are the issue. You need to look at your leadership, your president, your vice president, your CEO, all of them. And you need to start there. And until they get the culture right, then all of this down here is not going to matter.
Okay.
So I think you need to look at Kathleen Kennedy, Bob, all of them, and say, are we, I say that we don't lean left or right, but do we really? Yeah. And they need to start listening to shareholders. Mm-hmm. And, customers are a part of the shareholder. They may not own stock in a company, but they buy product. So they're a part of that. They're stakeholders. Let me clarify that for people that are technical.
Yeah.
They're known as stakeholders. They buy products, and they need to start listening to their customers. When customers are, posting comments on all of their YouTube videos or downvoting, people are not happy, and they need to start listening to their customers and making changes, because if they don't, then there's going to be another company that'll come up that will listen to their customers and will cater to them and will produce content that those customers want, and Disney will be no more. And we say, oh, Disney's too big and powerful. Like, there's been so many companies in the past that have, that no longer exist because they did not listen to their customers. Mm-hmm. So to me, I would just like to see Disney listen to their customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just kind of piggyback on that, is that they have so much, their hands in so many things, 20th Century, Marvel, Pixar, and so, and Lucasfilm, obviously. So I know one thing that I keep telling people is like, yeah, Disney's ahead of it, but all these calls have been mostly Lucasfilm decisions, but then Disney's like, okay, yeah, obviously they're not going to conflict with, like when they said about Kathleen Kennedy, like, oh yeah, she they're not going to say they're going to fire her anytime soon, but yeah, but like I said, Bob Chapek, the order has to come down, and they gotta, obviously they're reeling from these decisions that these other companies, Lucasfilm, are doing, and just like you said, his excuse of, oh no, we don't lean one way or the other. I mean, we're not big fans of Bob Chapek here at all. Mm-hmm. So, being that he's the head of this company kind of irks us very, very much. And that little phone call that he did was BS. I mean, I'm not going to say anything but one thing real quick, I really want them to, as much as I want to see more Cara in the stories, I don't, if Gina doesn't want to come back, I want them to at least apologize and make note that, like, we did not handle this professionally, and we apologize, even if she doesn't want to come back.
Absolutely.
But the fact that they're erasing this great character that's the thing that, sorry, but pisses me off the most is, we don't agree with her politics, but we're going to erase her from artwork. We're going to erase her from the books, take away the toys, action figures, sorry, the collectibles. And that's just not, like you said, bad business, bad customer service.
I mean, I think the whole difference in the way the company is being run now is that George Lucas is very left-leaning in his politics, but he never made anyone feel unwelcome in Star Wars. He was like, Star Wars is for everybody. He made you feel that way.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy does not make you feel that way.
Oh, especially that Oscar video.
Oh, yeah. Fade in.
Yeah.
And, I think with when they asked if they were going to fire Kathleen Kennedy, and Bob's answer, I think what they're trying to do is allow Lucasfilm to basically kind of operate on its own, which I can kind of understand that. Like you don't want to, like as a CEO or as the leader of a company, you don't really, or you shouldn't really get too much into the creative process, because it's really just your job to run the company and to kind of, provide the financial aspect of it and just let them do the creative work, because that's what they do best. And I do honestly believe that. Allow employees to do their best work and you just step back. With that being said, Kathleen Kennedy is making a lot of decisions that are not good for Lucasfilm and for the fans. The fans are not happy. You can see that on social media. And it's not just about Gina. I mean, there's a lot of things. I think it's them just focusing on this High Republic stuff. Fans are not happy. So again, coming back to Bob, like, it's his responsibility to get the ship back on course. If you're the captain of the ship, I mean, you might have, a first mate or whatever. And if they start to get the ship off course, it's your responsibility to get it back on course and then let everyone get back to doing what they do best. So I can understand why they're doing that, but at the same time, it's like, you need to rein Kathleen Kennedy in.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of problems that a lot of us ignored for a long time because we liked most of the content that was coming out. But when you look back at it now, it's like Rogue One had a lot of issues. Solo, major issues there. You look at the sequel trilogy, now that we have the whole thing, it's like they didn't plan this thing out. They did not. They changed major story elements at the last minute, and you can tell because it doesn't match up. That goes up to the top there. Like, Kathleen Kennedy did not manage that trilogy well.
Yeah.
And so, in my opinion, she hasn't proven herself, even on that side of things, the business side of things, as a competent leader of this company.
You guys talking about Kathleen Kennedy is kind of the way I look at it is that is the pinpoint. If we want to look at where maybe a lot of the issues that we're having is coming from her, from leadership top down. Any company I've ever worked with, I've worked for, luckily, some very, very good companies, and I think we've all been like really good and really bad. I've worked with some horrible companies and small companies, and the leadership was terrible, and it came from the top down. And I think you're right in the thought that any problems we're having or issues that we're having with Lucasfilm right now has to be pointed at Kathleen Kennedy. You look at anything, I mean, we can go back to even the political spectrum. Right now where we are, Joe Biden is our president. That is where we point if there's an issue with the country. Prior was Trump. Before him was Obama. Any way you look at it, you have to look at the culture being built. So Kathleen Kennedy, to me, as much as I respect her prior work, being an executive producer, she has been involved in a ton of things that I love. Indiana Jones, I can go on it, and I also recognize why George, when he sold Lucasfilm, said, okay, here's Kathleen Kennedy, someone who has worked with me, should have an understanding of where this IP that I've created and has where I would want it to go and where to build. Who wouldn't trust her with it? I would have. If I'm George, given that time, at that decision-making time, I would have been like, heck yeah, she knows. Who knows what kind of conversations they had, I think when you look back at it, I mean, going back to the when they did the BTS for The Mandalorian, when you're talking with Dallas Bryce Howard, she was talking about how George Lucas and her dad, Ron Howard, were talking. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that story. For me, like, struck me. I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine being Bryce Dallas Howard sitting at a table with those two guys and they're talking about creative things? I would just love to have been like fly on the wall. Like, I'm not going to say a word. I just want to listen to everything you're saying and absorb. So yeah, for me, Kathleen Kennedy initially was totally like, yeah, it made sense to me at the time. I'm like, okay, well, at least Kathleen Kennedy's going to be there and we're going to be okay because, Disney taking over, we all had a little bit of like, oh, what are we going to do? And then now we have the culture that we're seeing coming out very, very, it's becoming clearer and clearer, the culture of what has been built there. And now a lot of people are coining now the Favreau faction and the Kathleen Kennedy faction, And to me, a lot of it is rumor. You know, you're not going to ever be able to prove one way or the other if that's real. But looking at what's coming out and looking how the company is reacting, I think there's a big problem there. And Kathleen Kennedy, you have to point at her, at the culture that is being built or has been built and what has been coming out. And now I can look at her critically and go like, hey, the projects that you have been directly involved with haven't been that good. A lot of problems, like Madison, you were saying. Solo, you know, problems that we had with that. You know, Rogue One. You know, firing, how many directors are you going to fire? To me, that shows bad leadership, not bad employees. That shows bad leadership. So to me, I'm like, look, they haven't announced her extension of a contract yet. It's coming up, I think, end of the year, I think is what it is. And so I'm hoping, like, somebody up there goes, regardless of what we agree with her on a political spectrum, maybe, but dollars and cents, money. We are a business. Going back to the business part of it, she is becoming a liability to the company. And if they can't figure that out, then I'm like, then you're letting your whatever. If you have an ideology, then you're letting your ideology take over your business. That isn't good for business. Period. And like you were saying, Emily, that could lead to the end of the company. We're not talking like tomorrow or even 5 years, but 10 years, 15 years down the road, maybe. If they continue down this road, and maybe not Disney, but Lucasfilm, that could easily cause a downfall. I mean, movie studios rise and fall all the time, so that could be the same thing. So I think, yeah, I throw a lot of criticism at Kathleen Kennedy because I think she's deserved of that, and at the bare minimum because she's in the position of leadership. So yeah, I think
it's
go ahead.
Very interesting that Kevin Feige is being brought in to do a Star Wars movie. That struck me as very strange when that was first announced. And say what you will about Marvel. I'm a big Marvel fan. I know there's a lot of people out there who aren't as big of fans of Marvel, but you can't deny that it is a well-oiled machine.
Yep.
Like, they crank out the good content consistently. Look at their series now that they're putting out on Disney Plus. Solid, equal in quality to their movies. Kevin Feige is undeniably kind of a visionary. He was able to oversee this whole cinematic universe and keep it pretty well organized. And Star Wars is lacking that. And I'm wondering if Disney is starting to see that. You know, is Kevin Feige going to come in and help? I don't know. But I think it's strange that he's being brought in to direct a Star Wars movie. I know he's a big Star Wars fan, but I'm kind of like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it shows perfectly what you can do with having a big number of different directors with different filming styles and visions. But as long as you have one in concrete story that you want to follow all the way through, how good a movie could be. Because I think the sequel trilogy did start off good with Force Awakens. Really good character setup, minus the death of Han Solo, but that's something different. But then, all right, we're going to pass on this movie to a different writer, not just director, but different writer. Then we're going to do the third one with another different writer, which, again, Trevorrow got fired before even started. So I do enjoy the sequel trilogy, but I'm also adult enough to say that it was a mess. The continuity was definitely not there. And like you said, that they're bringing Kevin Feige, who can handle a big cinematic universe, and, you know, as different as these films are, and I said these directors are, you still got continuity between the movies, between the TV shows. And I got excited when he got announced for working for Lucasfilm, and especially the way the almost expanded universe of the Mandalorian era shows are going to come out. That's MCU right there, you know, the Heroes of the Republic, Ahsoka, and Book of Boba Fett, and it's just so annoying.
There's we haven't even mentioned this, but there were 2 Mandalorian books. Like, there was a Mandalorian original novel that was supposed to come out, and the visual dictionary, like, both just straight up got canceled. Like, and they'd already been pushed back, and it's like, that's weird, you know, if they were just going to, like, remove the Cara Dune sections, they could do that and still put out the book.
Yeah.
But at that point, I'm like, is that even the issue here, or is there something else going on? Like, I don't know.
I kind of wanted to comment a little bit on what Udi had mentioned with like Kathleen Kennedy and how George Lucas had handpicked her. And I 100% agree. Like, some of her other work was great, but I think that's a great example of how sometimes employees are really, really good at what they do. So you look at them and you think, oh, I'm going to promote in-house. But sometimes what makes a good employee does not always make a good leader. And Kathleen Kennedy, she did great as an executive producer. And she deserves the kudos and the accolades that with her past projects. But whenever she was promoted, as soon as George Lucas started seeing some of the decisions that she was making, he should have then corrected. And I think it's important to realize that, especially in business, when you see something like that happen, you need to say, oh, maybe we shouldn't have promoted her, and maybe we need to put her back in the spot that she shines. Because sometimes, like I said, what makes a really good employee does not always make a good leader. And I think that's what we're seeing with Kathleen Kennedy. I don't want to heap too much hate on her or anything like that. I do think that she did some great stuff, but I don't think that the position that she's in now is the position that she should be in.
No.
Well said.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, now that made me remember, I was in a very direct, in my life, I ran a shop, a bike shop, and at one point in time I needed to step away from it for a lot of personal things going on, and I had a guy underneath me that had been mentoring to be, take over, because eventually, my thing isn't to be here forever. I'm going to move on, and I looked at him and went, okay, I think, you have, I've been mentoring you because you're a great employee, you have X, Y, Z, and I said, okay, I'm going to put you in charge while I back away. He came in and made a mess of everything. It was literally a year and a half of him making a mess, and then I finally had to come back in and go, okay, well, you didn't do that, and it was my fault for not correcting. So that, you said, I'm like, holy crap, I've been through that. Holy crap, I went through that exact situation where I should have stepped in far sooner to try to correct what was going on, but I didn't. And, so no, I agree with you 100%. George could have at that early point been like, hey, hold on, what's going on? But he didn't. And, who knows what was going on in his life. The man is secretive. Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. I think Kathleen Kennedy deserves kudos for a lot of the things she's done. But right now, it doesn't mean that we're not going to heap hate on her if we're being critical about what she's doing right now. We're being critical. I'm not, the way I look at it, I'm not being hateful. I'm being critical.
No, absolutely. And as a leader, that's her responsibility is to take the blame for what she has not done right. We're going to praise her. Let's praise her for what she did right. But then we also need to be critical about what she has done wrong. And that is essentially creating an atmosphere where only one side of, one side of the political spectrum feels welcome. And that's not what Star Wars is about. No. And I don't know, in the Star Wars universe, in some of the books later on. So in the movies, they talk about that there's hope and there's a very defined line between the light side and the dark side. But then when you read in the books, as the characters mature, Luke, there's a lot of, I can't name a specific book off of the top of my head, but when you read his story, he starts to mature and realize that even on the rebellion side, that there were some political issues. And I think that's what I really liked about the whole Star Wars universe is it was so complex, and you could really apply it to real life and you could learn lessons. But even he kind of lost some hope and when he met Mara Jade, and as he developed his skills and everything in the Force or using the Force, you kind of see this inner battle with him, but he still had hope. But I don't know. I don't feel that with what's happening now in Star Wars. I almost see like a disconnect between the Star Wars that George Lucas started and the Star Wars that exists today. So like you made a comment earlier about like George Lucas fans, Star Wars fans, and like Kathleen Kennedy or Disney Star Wars fans. Mm-hmm. There is a divide, and I hate it, but it's there. Mm-hmm. So how do we fix it?
Yeah, exactly. and I think one of a good way to fix it is a lot of people that aren't even in the Star Wars community, I would say even fans, are starting to realize the wrong that's been happening, because kind of a nice segue is, and I'm surprised I saw this out of Forbes. I don't know if you guys probably seen this article from his name is Gene Del Vecchio. And so basically he wrote this article. He's been 35 years reporting entertainment news, and writes for Forbes. And the headline is Disney's firing of Gina Carano is confusing and hypocritical, lacking sound management. Mm-hmm. This is a guy from the outside, and I'm not going to this is a long article, a great article for those who haven't seen it, but I'm just going to
go read it if you haven't read it yet.
But I am going to read just the opening paragraph, and this should get you on. He's like, this is how everybody that's outside should be paying attention, I think. But he says, I've been sitting on this article for a while, allowing my opinion to form. That's something that's new that many companies something many companies don't do enough these days. Instead, they often rush to conclusions too fast, yielding to views of the social vocal members of the community rather than allowing time and consideration to inform decisions. And that's a great. I mean, yeah, that's what everybody should be doing.
Yeah, well, the way I feel, I mean, if now a lot of more people, I think the one thing that is maybe a positive to the whole firing is that now it's kind of brought people to recognize that, you know, the argument about cancel culture being real, that has been around for a while, and I kind of go like, look, it is real, okay, and it happens on both ends of the spectrum. It's happening to far left people and right people. If you ask me who I think is going to happen more to, I'm going to go, well, it's happening more to the people on the right. That is my opinion. People can argue that, but that isn't even the argument. The argument is that cancel culture is a real thing. And I think the positive of it is that people are now, with this, going, wait, what? Like, why did they, you know, people who are tacitly like, okay, maybe they've hopped onto the fandom because of The Mandalorian. And, you know, looking at and following Gina Carano on her Instagram feed like I do, she will constantly post things about people going, look, we're here because of Gina. We're here because of the fan Cara Dune. We have fallen in love with that character like I have and Joe have and we all have. We fell in love with that character. So even if you don't know about the ins and outs of Star Wars like we do, those kind of people look at the character and go like, we love that character. And now they're like, wait, the character is gone? Wait, why? And then it's making them, because something that they love is being removed. And even if they're very unaware of the social, you know, battle, if you want to put it that way, going on, the cultural battle going on, it made them go, what? Why? And then it's making them more aware of what is going on. So to me, the way I feel that we fix anything has always been my philosophy for my entire life is we talk. We have conversations like we're having now. But we have to all come from a point of it being a very coming to the table in a very open way and an honest way. We need to have an honest conversation. So I know not all my opinions are going to be correct, but I also recognize that all your opinions are not going to be wrong either because I disagree with you. So that is what I think we need to do. We need to recognize that, look, we need to have a conversation about what is going on. And in my opinion, the other thing we need to do is automatically begin to push back like we are now, the fandom is, on anything that is coming out of nowhere and being pushed on, you know, name calling, the bad behavior that they've done, all the names that they've thrown at Gina. Like, okay, that behavior isn't okay either, okay? I understand you're not happy, but that behavior, we're not going to accept. So if you have a problem, then come to me and let's talk about the problem. Let's figure that out. The only way we get better is by communicating. So that is the way I feel. We communicate more with people who are on the other end of the spectrum thinking, oh, no, I'm glad she got fired. Okay, why are you glad? What did you find? And have that talk. And then the people who just come in to troll or hate or just throw, the isms at us. Are like, okay, then come to me genuine or don't come to me at all. That is why I think, and we push you out. Like, if you want to talk about it, then we'll talk about it. We'll come in good faith and have a good faith discussion about it. But if you're not going to come with me good faith, like you've been doing, Emily, you push them out. Like, no, I'm not going to talk to you until you come to me with good faith, and then I will be open and receptive to what you say, but you need to have that coming back. So that is the only thing I think we can do now at this point is to continue to push back at Disney, being vocal about it, going, we're not happy with what you did. We are not happy, and over and over and over again, because that is the corporation will eventually hear, you hope. And I think then when it comes to the fandom, people like you and me, just the people who love the IP, that is when we go like, okay, we want to talk about it. We can have the argument. I want to go back to the argument about, did Han shoot first? I would rather go there. I'd rather have that kind of fight. But, the
good old days.
Yeah, the good old days were like, no, Han shot first. Come on. That kind of thing. But, that is where
Blue lightsabers or green lightsabers?
Dude, yellow, but I'm not going to go there. But that is my color.
Before Rey.
That is always my thing. I remember when she, lit up her yellow saber. I went, oh, that has always been my color. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to deal with people going, you like Rey? I'm like, okay. But anyway, off tangent, but off topic. But yeah, that I think we need to. I think we just need to hold everybody. They talk about accountability is that nice word that they throw out. So yeah. We will hold you accountable for bad behavior equally. So I think that is maybe where we begin to bridge a gap. Like, we love the Star Wars fandom. We love what we have. We've been loving Mandalorian. We've been loving Grogu. We've been having, Luke come back. We have all these Boba Fett. My God, Boba Fett coming back. All let's find the things that in Madison's having Boba Fett. But having, let's find the things that we connect on. And then that is where we build. Like, we connect on this level here, and then these other, outlying issues, let's talk about. That is what I feel we need to do, and we need to encourage anybody from any end of the spectrum to come and have a conversation. But if they come out and act in bad faith, then we can go like, okay, we're done talking. Basically kind of like the adults taking the room, like, okay, we're going to talk about it. If you come like an adult, we can have a discussion. That is where we go. So that's what I feel. I don't know what you guys think, but that is why I feel like having conversations like we're doing is the beginning of where we begin to mend that bridge and mend that gap.
And for the record, before that, I've actually, this time and the first conversation, I reached out to people I know that weren't supporters of Gina, and they're glad that she got fired. But so I'm like, well, let's talk. We're going to have some supporters. Nobody wanted to come on, really. So I'm like, well, screw it. We're going to have a big Gina Love Fest, and I don't care about it. I'm all for it. So that's what it is. So,
yep.
I mean, like we were talking about with the leadership kind of trickling down into the rest of the fandom, I don't think the Star Wars fandom can heal at large until the leadership steps forward and says, hey, let's make this fandom a better place. I don't think it can really happen until they do that. So I think something that's really important in the meantime is creating your own space. Like Gina talked about in her interview with the Daily Wire, like if you aren't welcome at this table, go find your own table, make your own table.
Yeah.
So I think that's crucial going forward.
No, agreed.
Yeah. And I have to agree, like what happened to Gina is horrible. The firing, I completely agree. It was unfair and shouldn't have happened. With that being said, it has the support that she's getting is massive.
Yeah.
And I think there's a quote, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. It's Our Greatest Fear by Marianne Williamson. It's a long, it's kind of long, but at the very end it says, and as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. Mm-hmm. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And I 100% think that is what's happening with Gina. She is unafraid to say what she thinks and what she believes. And what she's done is unconsciously given other people, in other words, her fans, permission to do the same. Mm-hmm. So people that have maybe been kind of shy about stating what they believe or, being vocal about things, you're seeing them step forward and they're speaking up and they're saying, you know what, this isn't okay. And I stand with her. So, it's awful what happened to her, but at the same time, I feel like this is all the stuff with Disney wouldn't have come forward if this hadn't happened. Yeah. All of the toxicity that we're seeing come up to the top, I don't think we would have realized just how far in it's gotten unless this had happened to Gina. So I hate what happened, but at the same time, like I kind of see there is a silver lining to the cloud.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said this a couple times, even I think on the first time, but it's like there was another Star Wars actor that was very vocal in her real life, and her character was as identified as her character was identified in the film was also. I'm trying to word this right, but basically what I'm saying is Carrie Fisher was Princess Leia. Princess Leia was Carrie Fisher, and same thing with Gina Carano, and one got praised and one got hated on.
Yeah, my princess, my Marshall. That is the way I look at it. Yeah,
but oh man, I'm just thinking, I've got to love those Alderaan women.
Yeah, I did that. I did that on my Instagram. I posted a picture of Carrie as Princess Leia when that first scene when you see her when she kind of pokes her head around the corner with a blaster in hand, and then I did that with a kind of a side by side of Cara Dune pointing her blaster, and I kind of made the point like, strong women have been here, and we, I did it after International Women's Day because I kind of wanted to be like, hey, you know what, I love International Women's Day, but strong women need to be celebrated every day. And I kind of made the point, like, here are two, and I kind of want to be like, why are they any different? They're not. They're not any different. But it has to do with the culture and some people, how they can love one and hate the other. And I kind of go like, but they're doing the same thing. So, yeah, the hypocrisy is one of those things that drives me crazy. But, yeah, We need to continue to rally around her. That is the only way I think we continue to do this. Yeah. Yeah,
and nice segue. I know we could talk for hours, but you guys actually have that planned for a while. So you guys have been sharing on social media that you're starting a fan site. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I actually, going back, like I think Madison and Udi, you might have mentioned it too. Gina had mentioned about, she actually had a Nina Simone quote, and it was, "You've got to learn to leave the table when love is no longer being served." Absolutely love that. Mm-hmm. And she's absolutely right. So when you look at Disney and you look at Lucasfilm and you're seeing how they treated Gina and how they're obviously, I think they've treated other employees as well, other content creators. And I work in the food industry now on the distribution side, but I used to manage a restaurant, and there's something significant about a table. And a table is where, as a family, you sit around and you talk about, your hopes, your dreams. You make plans, so you have an experience at a table. But you and I can sit at a table and we may not agree on everything, but as long as we have respect for each other, then we can usually have a conversation. And that happens at that table. But like Nina Simone and like Gina mentioned, if love is no longer being served there, then it's time for you to get up and leave. So what we've done as a group, and it's not just me, it's not just Madison, there's Ashley, Memory, Kara, Leslie, Daniel, who am I missing? Chantel. Shannon.
Did you say Allie?
Yeah, Allie. I mean, there's a whole group, like our watch party group. What we've been doing is creating and setting a table. So for all of those fans out there who have been canceled or ridiculed or maligned because either they really agree with Gina, or even, I mean, there's liberals out there that maybe don't agree with her at all politically or agree with everything that she's posted, but they really like her as a person or like her characters. And they're being canceled because they just like her characters. Mm-hmm. So for all of those fans and for all of those people, what we've done is we've been working on a site and essentially setting a table and saving a space for them. That's what we've been doing. And it's called GinaCarano.net. And we actually started it off as a Cara Dune fan site. Like, it was going to be a Star Wars community, obviously supporting Gina Carano, but we had so much planned, and we had everything, like the skeleton of it built. And then the news dropped about Gina Carano being fired from The Mandalorian, and we just had to scrap it and figure out from there, like, where we were going to go. So we decided, you know what, we are going to keep the conversation going because this is wrong, what they're doing. And Gina Carano deserves to be supported. And this is what we're going to do. So we decided to do GinaCarano.net, and basically it's going to be a fan site. We're going to promote Gina Carano. It has a twofold purpose. We're going to promote Gina Carano, but we're also going to foster an environment where fans can speak freely, without fear of censure.
Very cool. And you guys already started the socials for that, so I see
the
numbers.
Amazing.
See the numbers growing daily, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and I just pulled it up on my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be
33 days.
Yeah, I'm going to be putting in my email right now as we're talking.
Awesome. I know you're before you're teasing it to me when we were talking, about because I was I had planned on getting Ashley on the show during the We Love Cara Dune Saturday, the hashtag. I'm like, mm-hmm. So we're working on that. Then everything dropped, and I was like, so. But you guys have been fighting. I mean, we've all been fighting, but you guys have definitely had your boots laced up the longest and going to battle. So definitely admire everything you guys have been doing since the beginning. I mean, we became friends not just because of the Mandalorian, but basically Mandalorian / Gina Cara Dune has been the main purpose of that. So that's something I'm happy for, and we'll both be plugging the site, the socials, and I'm like, I can't even talk. Contributing in anything you guys want us to, too. So.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I was going to comment, like, when we did our previous talk, Joe and I in Madison, we did that as a kind of a special episode for both of our podcasts. And when we put that out, I found that interesting. My other co-host, Mark, he's in charge of the entire thing. He looks at our numbers, he looks at our followers and everything. He goes, we lost people after that. I'm like, really? We did? He's like, yeah. I go, and how do you feel about it? He's like, I don't care. I'm glad we did that. So, and I told him about this. He's like, okay, good. He has because he's of the same mind. We need to continue. Like, we need to keep on breaking through whatever. If people are going to disengage with us because of one tiny thing, we can't help that. But we need to continue to keep on talking. And I'm so amazingly excited about what you guys are doing there because, yeah, you guys are walking the walk. You're not just talking the talk. You're walking the walk, and that is what we need more of. And Madison, you've said it before, and you guys are doing it, and that is fantastic. So yeah, whatever we can do to help, I will be more than happy to do that because I think these are the steps we take as a community to make everything better.
Can we tell you a little bit more about what we're going to have?
Go for it.
Absolutely.
Go for it. You can go for another hour or two. I'm like a sponge. Bring it on. Yeah.
Madison, do you want to talk? I feel like I'm talking a lot. So, Madison.
Well, I mean, what Emily's not saying is that she's doing a lot of this, and I'm kind of just along for the ride, contributing as I can. But Emily, she's putting so much hard work into this. But I mean, one thing I'm excited about is there's going to be artwork featured on the website, and occasionally there will be art giveaways. Obviously, these are Gina related, so Gina's characters. there is still going to be like some Cara Dune stuff, but obviously we're going to include all of her other roles now as well. So there's going to be occasional art giveaways and maybe even some prints sold like through the site. We're working on some merch designs. There's going to be all kinds of fun stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, and like I love supporting like the small businesses, the up and coming artists. So and obviously Madison is one of them. So we're going to feature her art on them. But so we'll have the main site, which is, you can actually get a little bit of a preview. If you go to ginacarano.net, you'll see a countdown ticker on there. But we're on the homepage, you'll come in, there's going to be some like news stuff, and there's going to be a forum, which is where a lot of the conversation will be going between fans. And we're going to have a database on there where we list her movies that she's been in with like a short description. We're working on like putting somewhere in there where you can see where you can go watch it. It'll also show like her TV show she's been on, basically like a Ginapedia almost. And like we're going to have sections in there where people can have watch parties or organize watch parties. I mean, there's so much that I feel like sometimes I get off of like an Instagram live or a podcast and I think, oh, I forgot to tell them about that.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, but it's really a fan-driven movement. Like, we're fans of Gina Carano, and we're putting this on. It's like, it's by the fans for the fans. And like, we even have what was it that we were like, we're going to have like the monthly like featured artists, but then we're also going to have a featurette on like a monthly member spotlight. That's what I'm trying to think of.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have a monthly member spotlight, and we'll probably put that in. We're also going to have a blog and a newsletter, so that way fans can stay connected, because I feel like she has a following on Facebook, then she has a following on Twitter, and then she has one on Instagram, and it's all kind of just broken up. And essentially what we're trying to do is unite her fan base and give them content that they can, if we're going to have, we've been working on some original content like stickers and stuff to give away. We've gotten some merch, some Cara Dune merch that we plan on, letting fans have the chance to enter to win those. And maybe one day we'll have some sort of like mini fan convention, or we plan on being very active, like having tables at conventions and stuff, and having that stuff. Right?
I love it.
But I mean, we've been working, and it's not just me. It's Ash and everyone else in the group too. I think Madison doesn't give herself enough credit, but we've all put so much time and effort into like creating this content in this site for other fans, so that way they have a place to go and to converse with other people and make friends. Like, why not?
Awesome.
Uncensored too, because like Twitter and all these other sites are so manipulated. They can control which comment goes to the top, or they can take a few thousand likes off. So we're glad to kind of create our own space here that's unmonitored and uncontrolled by Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, what have you.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to make sure that we make clear, because we get this quite a bit where people will mistake us for Gina. I get DMs all the time, and that's another thing that absolutely blew my mind away. Like, when we announced that we were doing this and we started getting the socials out there, fans just poured their love out, and they said, if there's anything that we can do to help, like, this is what I'm good at. This is my specialty. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I have time. Like, let me do something if there's anything that I can do. And that just, like, it kind of made me tear up, because I thought, this is what it's about. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I do want to make clear is we're not Gina Carano. We are a fan group and a fan site and a fan community. But we're not doing this for money. Like, obviously she's gotten a lot of fame and recognition after her firing. I have my best friend who is a business professor. That is no way, like, she has no interest whatsoever in Star Wars or anything like that. Like, she even mentioned to me one time, we were having breakfast together, and she said, you know what, I saw something about that Gina Carano girl that you follow. And she said, what happened was totally wrong. And, you know, so that's someone like completely unrelated that even said that. But like, we're not in this for the money. We've invested our own time and money into building this site and community. So we actually just this past week, because we're going to be selling merch to help with the maintenance, the cost of the maintenance of the site, we created an actual business for this. And we registered it as nonprofit or a not-for-profit. And essentially everything that we make in excess of our cost or advertising or anything like that, we're going to put right back into a charity of our choosing for the month. So, you know, I want to be transparent. I'm all about transparency, whether it's in politics or business, but I want to be transparent for fans out there. We're not here to make money off of Gina. Obviously, we're going to sell things on our site like T-shirts, and we have original stuff that we're creating. Art, T-shirts, hoodies, I mean, like keychains, stickers, you name it, we're going to have it. But that's where a lot of that we're going to reinvest into making the site better. I'm all for customer service. Like, that's my thing. I believe in creating a great customer experience. And in this case, like, I want there to be a great fan experience on this site. And I'm all about that. So we're going to reinvest that money back into it. And then whatever else we have, we're going to put into a charity. And a lot of it will be like for child trafficking, child cancer research.
Beautiful.
I mean, all sorts of different things. But another thing that's near and dear to my heart that we're going to have is last year we had a Giving in Honor of Gina event.
Yeah.
And we're basically going to do like the same thing sort of this year, except we're going to have a challenge for fans. And I don't want people just to do something because it's tied to Gina, although there's a lot of motivation behind that. Like, we're going to challenge fans to do things like actually organize food drives in your area, or, you know, some sort of donation drive, like do something local that has a bigger impact other than just what you're posting on social media. Like, you know, I can go buy a can of food and take it to my local food bank, but it has such a greater impact if I'm actually organizing it and getting other people involved. So yeah, we're gonna step it up a notch this year and try to get some more like local, have a larger local impact.
Very cool. Yeah, we were really proud to be part of that over the last year, and we'll be even more proud to continue the support. So very cool.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Well, awesome. So, like I said, we could probably keep going on for hours, but you know, we all, it's a weekend. We got to have fun during the weekend, but So I would love to talk about it again once the site is live. I know I'm on the sign up already and following the socials, so we'll definitely share that. If
you know what you guys should do. Because Udi, I'm pretty sure Joey probably told you, but so with our site, we have a soft launch and then we have a hard launch. So the hard launch, we're going to have about 25 to 50 fans that are going to join us live when it actually launches. And for those fans, we're going to have some special stuff, but before the hard launch, the soft launch is actually going to be for media. So podcasts, media personnel, like YouTubers, different things like that. You guys should do like a live. Can you do like a live podcast?
I'm working on that right now. For my Disney Universe podcast, I've been testing the Restream, and I'm planning on. I don't know if I was motivated to do it once Madison saying she's doing her reaction videos. I'm like, you know what? I'm still doing podcasting. I love it, but I've been kind of touching base a little bit more with YouTubing. So
yeah, that is a weird coincidence that after Madison started doing it, Joey's like, hey, I need to hop in on that.
Yeah. So I have been testing the live streaming for the podcast.
So maybe not a live podcast, but maybe just do like whenever you're on the soft launch, like when we get you guys in there, maybe just like actually you guys do your podcast and react, or I don't know. It's your podcast. You do whatever you want to do. But
we could have a thing where like people are in there live at the time and then it's uploaded later for everyone else to see.
Yeah, no, you know what? I want to do that. Now, no, you got my mind rolling. Now you got my mind going because, I mean...
Wheels are turning.
Yeah, wheels are turning. Any little thing jumps in my head, I'm like, hey, how about, anybody who's going to be creating and try to build things, you always have that thing of like, hey, what about that? And how about that? And what about that?
Well, we recorded the first part with Madison. We were telling her, like, well, we're not sure how we're going to put this out yet. We just know we wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
And do you guys have a...
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Emma.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
I was going to say, do you guys have an Instagram for your podcast?
Yeah, I have my personal one, and I can give them to you when we're done here. But I have my personal one and the podcast one, which I don't have. I don't. Again, my co-host Mark is the driver over there, but I do have access, so I will hop on and hop off occasionally. I know Joe has like 20 Instagrams that he works for every show. He's got like 5 different, 5 different podcasts. So that the man has all of those, and I'm like, there you go, Joe. I do one with him, and he does all that. So yeah, but we do.
Well, here's my thought though. So you could record your podcast and as we're doing the soft launch, so you guys have content for your podcast, but we could do so we used to do this. There used to be like this radio show local here, but so it was on the radio, but then they would do it like a Facebook Live, the radio station one. Mm-hmm. So you could do like your podcast, but then do an Instagram Live.
Yeah,
of you guys doing your podcast.
That's what I was thinking
just to
about.
give people like this. This is kind of like how it works, or whatever. But if you guys decide to do that, we could probably connect you with some Cara Dune or Gina Carano Instagram pages that have 10,000. Like if they host it and then invite everyone in, then that just your reach.
Yeah,
is a lot bigger.
The thing is, on my other podcast, we have began that now is before we actually sit down to record, we go up on Instagram Live and we kind of talk to our followers, whoever hops on, to kind of talk about, hey, what's going on? This is where we are, and we're about to record, and we are literally conversing while we are setting up our gear, and we kind of opened up that thing of like. Now every 2 weeks is when we record. We're going to have at one point in time we're going to be up on Instagram Live, just talking. So that is a great idea. That would be great. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I'll definitely do it. I was actually thinking about that. I'm like, we could do Restream. We could do IG Live.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that we can do now.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Like I can't wait for fans and for people to see what our team has been working so hard to do for fellow fans. I think it's extra special because it's actual fans. Like we're doing this for other fans. So coming from a fan perspective, like we just put so much more, I think, love and attention that we're pouring into it because we want other fans to have a stellar product.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll be in contact leading up to the launch too. So yeah, I'm definitely we'll definitely do some kind of live stream the launch day or even before, whenever. So, but yeah, I'm excited for it too. So
yeah, and I'm going to take the moment to thank both of you for not only hopping on talking with us, but then like I said, you guys are doing you're lifting and you're pushing the what we need. And, and anybody who's going to hear this right now, and anybody who's a supporter of Gina Carano, Cara Dune, or said about what is going on and want to do something to try to correct and right the ship, this is how we do it. And we need to support people like Emily and Madison, that entire group in this website. We need to show that, hey, these kind of things are for real. These things are important to us, and this is how we do it. So we go in and we support. So I'm going to put the call out right now. When that goes live, anybody who hears that, put your ears to the ground. Go to the website, sign up. I already did. My email is there. We all need to do that. So anybody here, fans of the DU, the LTP, or for the Mando Show, whoever, any of you guys listen to this, please, if you want to support good people creating good content, this is what we do right here. These wonderful people are walking that walk. So let us all get together, band together like we have been, and continue to move forward and support these people. So please go there, support them. I already am. I'm wearing Madison's shirt. All these little tiny things that all show that we're really here behind that. And so please support these people. This is the goodness. This is what Star Wars is about. What we're talking about right here, what these people are doing, this is what real fandom is about. This is what Star Wars is really about. So if you believe that and you feel that, then come on in. We love you. We're going to open the door and let people in. Like, come on. We want everybody who wants to love the fandom, love the IP, love the message. We don't care about anything else but you love that. That is what we care about, and you're here to support that. So come on in.
As you're talking, I'm just thinking going to Rise of Skywalker is like, they win by making us think we're alone. Then
there are more of us.
Exactly. There are more of us, Poe. There are more of us. So, sorry, everything I could refer back to any kind of Star Wars. But, yeah, I can't top what Udi said. I totally agree. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. We're going to have an even bigger group next time. So, even this chat keeps growing, and maybe that one will be on YouTube. Before we let you guys go, though, Madison, Emily, can you let our listeners know where they can find you guys and follow?
Yeah, you can follow me at Madison_Thames, THAMES on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram at MadisonThames.art. That's more mainly just for my artwork. And you can also follow me at Doing Talking I've got my YouTube channel still up where I'm doing reactions to Falcon and Winter Soldier now. That just started. So,
it was great, too. It was great.
I love it, by the way. I watched your one for the end of WandaVision. I'm like, yeah!
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm Emily Locke, and you can follow me personally at Emmy, EMMY, Locke, LOCKE. So at Emmy Locke on Twitter. I don't remember my Instagram, but the most important thing is
Emily Daisy Locke.
Is it Emily Daisy? I don't remember. I don't remember it. But the most important one that I really want everyone to follow is at Gina Carano Net. So that's at Gina Carano Net, and that's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It's the same for all of them. And Udi, I think you put it perfectly. Gina said, they can't cancel us if we don't let them. And referring back to her, if love is no longer being served at the table, then you need to leave. Well, we've set the table. So any fan that's at the sound of my voice or in the sound of my voice, we've set the table and we're saving you a seat. So come join us.
And it's a buffet, so plenty of food.
Absolutely.
Well, awesome. I can't wait to do this again. And thank you guys for taking the time to join us. And I'll let Udi end it.
No. Thank you both, Emily and Madison. It has been a great pleasure to meet both of you. Madison, we talked before. Emily, this is the first time we're talking. And I want to thank you for everything you're doing. And I think our listeners are going to really enjoy this. And it has been a pleasure and an honor to talk to both of you. And I thank you again from the bottom of my heart for what you're doing.
Yes, new friends.
Yeah. New friends and new Star Wars friends. More friends are better.
And thank everybody for listening.
Yep.